This is the T-62A, a Tier 10 Soviet tech tree medium that in Update 10.7 received PBR, as well as a few stat changes. In today's video, we're going to be breaking into all these changes, as well as playing 2 live games to see if the matchmaker will let me do anything. But yeah, let's get right into it. So to start off, its gun, it deals 330 damage on its standard, 280 on the premium, and 440 on the high explosive. It's pretty nice HE. And as for its pen, it's 257 on the standard, 330 on the premium, and 55 on the high explosive, which is definitely average for a tier 10 medium. Its accuracy is pretty good at 2.8 seconds of aim time and 0.326 dispersion. Its mobility is similar to that of the T-22, which I just did a review on, and it goes 55 forward and 20 in reverse. Now, to start off with the changes that this tank received in 10.7, it lost a degree of gun depression. And that's because it received PBR, and the entire tank actually became a bit smaller. The turret is now similar size to the 140's turret, and overall, the tank's, like, sloping. Honestly, it looks like it got a little bit better, like, frontal armor. I don't know if the entire tank just got smaller, or if they did something to change the way that the upper plate's angled, but it's a bit better in-game, and this tank overall, its armor profile is really nice, even before the changes. Basically, this tank, you want to not really show your hull if you can. It's more of a hull down tank, even though it doesn't have much gun depression. Its turret is really strong, and the only real weak spot on the turret are these 2 cheek weak spots right beside the gun. So we're on Winter Mal, and up against this we have really an E50M and a 30B to deal with on medium side, and my Caro is doing some interesting stuff. So yeah, but this tank's really fun, and I don't think it's ever been a bad tank. Like, honestly, this tank has always been pretty solid, and especially in situations like this, where you have a couple of medium tanks against you. This tank its mobility is pretty solid for a medium tank, and especially its accuracy. 2.8 seconds of aim time is really nice on this tank, and it allows you to just snap some pretty nice shells into the opponents. So right now, because I'm in a 62A and their E50 just, I don't know what happened to him, but he just died, so I'm going to play pretty aggressive and start shooting at this 30B. Now, the 4005 is also here. Unfortunately for me, he does get a shell into me, but he's now turning around, so that gives me some free shells into him. He is also running, so he's running straight into our Caro, which is not the best play, but, you know, it is what it is. He's already dead, and their team is already down 3 tanks. So, I'm going to make my way around the rear of the team, and hopefully this Yag is not sitting here to... Oh, he's not. He's over there. Never mind. I was going to say, hopefully he's not sitting around here to shoot at me, but he's not. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flank them and basically take their TD spot over here. And this is going to allow me to get some shots into tanks like this Emil and the Yag. Although the Yag is turning around, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get any shots into him. But the AMX is also over here. We get a nice tracking shell into him. And although this tank did lose a degree of gun depression, like, this game, it's not really going to matter. Simply because all we were doing this game is just flanking around. The Yag shoots, so we get another side shot into him. And, I mean, this game is pretty much over. There's not really much else to do this game besides farm the enemy team a little bit. So let's see if I can get a kill shot into the Yag. Unfortunately, that does use up our max roll. Which is a little bit sad, but it doesn't matter too much. Now we're going to start shooting at this Emil too, because he shot once. I don't know how many shells he actually has, but it doesn't seem to matter. And you can see this tank has really nice DPM. It has, I believe, around 3,400. I am using calibrated, of course, as I do on most of my tanks, but you can get it to around 3,500 with rammer. But yeah, so almost 5,000 damage is pretty solid for this tank. We were able to use its nice mobility and DPM to just sort of flank. Their team did fall apart really quickly, though, I will say, which is kind of unfortunate for them, but oh well. Another thing with this tank is the alpha damage. It actually got buffed from 310 to 330. And what that's going to allow you to do, excuse me, is basically just outtrade with other mediums at tier 10 more effectively. So with its 310 alpha, it was nice, but it was more of like a pea shooter gun, and basically you just were going to get outtraded by pretty much everything. And that kind of sucked, because if you were peeking and you did lose health, you were basically guaranteed to lose more health than the enemy team or enemy opponents. But now with its alpha change, you can see rolls like that for 350 are going to allow you to just absolutely destroy your opponents. And so we are obviously on Black Goldville, and they have some medium tanks over here, like the Cent 7-1, and they actually have a T100 LT. So right now I'm just going to hold this corner here and really just sort of shoot at these mediums. Oh, their XM is also here. But so is my T30. Ha ha ha. So, yeah, anyways. We're just going to keep getting shells into this into these enemy tanks, and I'm actually going to take this position here. I don't know if I'm going to stay here, but normally I like taking this just so their team can't get control of the caves. And their T100 looks to have left. He just basically ran away, which is good for us, so we can just get some shots into the side of these heavies now, since they don't really have as much medium presence over here anymore. So we did get shot, unfortunately, but doesn't matter too much. I'm going to get a shot into that VK. And with that, so far we've controlled a lot of the map. And this VK90, unfortunately, that doesn't pen. But I'm going to start farming him out, because right now he's in a really good spot. And he's kind of holding off a lot of our team. So I'm just going to try and get another shell. Unfortunately, it doesn't hit his midsection there, but that's okay. Now we also have the 263, who I'm going to get another shell into right now. And he's also kind of just sitting there. But you can see here, this is a perfect example of where to use the turret armor. This 263 cannot really see my upper plate at all. And he's really struggling there. He just got absolutely annihilated. But he wasn't really able to see any of my weak spots. So we get a nice shot on the move into the VK. And I'm just going to push right on across here and get some shots into the Cent. I don't really care about angling. He has the stock gun, so he's not really going to do a whole lot to us. And I'm going to load a premium shell for the VK's lower plate. And that's about it for that guy. He gets finished off. So we're going to get a shell into the T30. Is he going to bounce us? No, he's not. I wasn't really expecting much there for bouncing shots, but we get a nice max roll into this XM. And that was just a complete steamroll. Yeah, new matchmaking for you. Yeah, totally going to stop steamrolls from happening. Well, there you go. That's the 62A. It's a really nice tank, and overall, I think the whole line is pretty solid. So we did 4,800 there, which is really good. So yeah, overall, I would recommend getting this tank, and actually, I would say, if you're newer to mediums, get this tank over the 140. The 140 is more of a light tank, and I wouldn't recommend it for newer players. The 62A is a pretty solid tank, and I do actually recommend it if you are trying to get into medium tanks and you don't want to spend any money. This is a great tank to start grinding, and the whole line. Again, the T54 has gotten buffed before, and now it's really strong, and the T44 is pretty good. And yeah, the whole line's really good. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.